I sat in a Starbucks for 20 minutes, and I managed to borrow, well, let's be honest, steal, the login credentials of 15 people without touching a single one of their devices. This is the terrifying reality of the Pineapple attack. Look around you next time you're in a coffee shop. Just look. You see people buried in their spreadsheets, scrolling through banking apps or checking work emails. They think they're safe because, well, they're sitting in a well-lit room with a 5-pound latte, right? But in the corner, tucked away in a backpack, sits a device no larger than a smartphone. It's called a Wi-Fi Pineapple. It looks like a piece of cheap plastic from a bargain bin, but it acts as a silent vacuum for every single bit of data you broadcast into the air. Look, this isn't some high-level state espionage or a scene from a Hollywood thriller. This is a systematic exploitation of your own device's desperate need to stay connected. You see, your phone is constantly shouting into the void, looking for networks it has trusted in the past. It's asking, is Starbucks Wi-Fi here? Is my home network here? And the Pineapple, it simply whispers back, yes, I am exactly who you're looking for. It's a brilliant, albeit bloody terrifying trick. Whilst those 15 people thought they were connected to the shop's official network, they were actually routed through my hardware. I became the gatekeeper of their digital existence. Every password, every private message, every session cookie was flowing through my machine before it ever reached the actual internet. The daunting part isn't that the technology is complex. It's how effortlessly we hand over our lives to a complete stranger just to avoid using our own mobile data. I mean, think about it. How did 15 people give up their lives to a stranger whilst just trying to order a latte? The answer lies in a fundamental flaw in how we perceive digital trust. And honestly, we're all walking straight into the trap. You and I, we've been sold a dream that is quietly becoming a nightmare. We were promised this world of seamless connectivity, the digital nomad utopia, where you could work from a beach in Bali or some posh cafe in London without ever losing your link to the grid. Big tech and local councils sold us free public Wi-Fi as if it were a basic human right, a gateway to the information age that should be available to everyone for the low price of, well, absolutely nothing. But look, in the world of cybersecurity, free is the most expensive word in the dictionary. To understand why, I need to show you a fundamental flaw in how your devices actually communicate. It involves something called the Preferred Network List, or PNL. Think of it like this. Your phone is essentially acting like a lonely child shouting for its parents in a massive anonymous crowd. It is constantly broadcasting a list of every network it has ever trusted. It is walking around whispering, is Starbucks guest here? Is home office 5G nearby? It is a desperate, invisible search for familiarity. The Pineapple? Wow, that's the predator in that crowd that simply leans in and answers, yes, I am your dad. See, it doesn't need to guess your password or break into a secure server. It just listens for what your phone is already looking for and echoes it back. It is brilliant, it is simple, and it is bloody massive in its scale. Whilst you're sitting there thinking you found a convenient signal, you've actually just handed the keys to your entire digital existence to a stranger sitting 2 tables away. But look, that is not even the craziest part of this deception. Because once the Pineapple has whispered that lie to your device, the real harvest begins. And believe me, it is far more surgical than you realize. Look,
To understand this, you have to realize that your smartphone is essentially a digital beggar. It's constantly shouting into the void for its favorite networks. In technical terms, we call this the preferred network list, or PNL. It is a broadcast of every Wi-Fi network you have ever trusted. Your home, your office, your parents' house. The Pineapple simply listens to these shouts and, well, it whispers back, "Yes, I am that network. Join me." Once the device tricks you, you are caught in what we call a man-in-the-middle attack. Think of it like a postman who doesn't just deliver your mail, but opens every single envelope, photographs the contents, and then reseals them so perfectly you never suspect a thing. Every packet of data, your banking credentials, those private DMs you thought were encrypted, your session cookies that keep you logged into Amazon, it all flows through the attacker's hardware before it ever touches the real internet. And here is the most daunting part. The barrier to entry for this kind of surveillance is, well, it is quite literally non-existent. You do not need to be some elite state-sponsored hacker or a mastermind in a dark basement. You just need $100 and 20 minutes on YouTube. It is a plug-and-play dystopia that anyone with a credit card can weaponize. If you are sitting there thinking, well, I only use secure websites, I am safe. Look, you are falling for a false sense of security. This is where the attacker employs a technique called SSL stripping. They transparently hijack your request and force your device to downgrade from a secure encrypted HTTPS connection to a vulnerable old-school HTTP one. To you, the website looks exactly the same. But to the person with the Pineapple, your data becomes as readable as a morning newspaper. I am talking about your entire digital identity being laid out in plain text on a dashboard whilst you were just trying to order a coffee. This is not just a glitch in the system. It is the architecture of a hijack. But even with your data being stripped and harvested in real time, there is one final layer to this trap that most people never see coming. It is a move so calculated that by the time you realize what has happened, it is already too late to change your passwords. Look, we all like to think of our smartphones as these secure vaults of personal data. But in reality, they're more like a desperate puppy looking for a familiar face, right? See, your device keeps a digital record of every network you've ever touched. It's called your preferred network list, or PNL.
Now imagine, whilst you're walking through that airport terminal, your phone is constantly broadcasting a signal, whispering into the air. "Hey, is the Hilton Wi-Fi here? Is my home network here?" And a tool like the Wi-Fi Pineapple is designed to simply say, yes. Honestly, it's a brilliant bit of social engineering, executed by a machine. Once you're connected, the attacker doesn't just see your traffic, they control your digital reality. I mean, they can serve you fake login pages for your bank or your email that look pixel perfect. Is the convenience of saving a few gigabytes of data worth the total exposure of your digital life? Quite frankly, no. In an era where our phones are extensions of our nervous systems, free Wi-Fi is quite literally the most expensive thing you can use. Look, if you're not using a trusted VPN or sticking to your own cellular data, you're just a passenger on someone else's rogue network. It's a daunting thought, mate. But we have to stop being so desperate for a signal that we ignore the predator hiding in the radio waves. I'll leave you with a stark warning. Next time you see free airport Wi-Fi, remember that you are the customer. You are the product being harvested. If you want to stop your phone from being such a chatterbox, I've put a guide in the description on how to properly secure your PNL settings before your next flight. Stay safe out there.